the domain that I know a little bit about, and then give it to the other panelists. I would try and cover the role of insurgency and terrorism in affecting energy security, and try and analyze for you as to what is the impact of the destruction and attacks on energy infrastructure, and how does it contribute to the climate of energy insecurity, as it were. And the other panelists would cover the domain of electricity grids and control systems, the entire philosophy of critical infrastructure protection, and of course sea piracy and sea lanes. So, ladies and gentlemen, I begin my 15 minutes now. And I begin by saying that the quest for energy security, really, the frenzied quest, with perhaps varied and conflicting concerns amongst existing large consumers who see it as a finite source, which is coming to an end, and see a threat from new contenders who see it as a necessary resource for meeting their obligations within their nations of lifting people out of poverty through continued development, and amongst major producers who variously try and balance the two imperatives of eking as much as they can in terms of prices out of this resource, and yet trying to maintain what is an assured demand to conflicting imperatives going at the same time. This is giving rise, as it were, to a negative aspect of geopolitics. Some of the negative features that we see are competitive arms sales and militarization of politically and geostrategically sensitive areas, which was spoken to about yesterday. We see gunboat diplomacy in the Gulf, in the South and East China Seas, in the Caspian. We see deployment of ground forces. Really speaking, nobody wants a resource war. Nobody wants a resource war, but we see what is resource nationalism on the one hand and frenetic resource acquisition on the other, and these are the conflicting imperatives which can lead to unintended consequences as they pile up one upon the other. So there is a doomsday scenario of an all-out conflict occurring, although one has never occurred over fossil fuels thus far, an all-out large-scale global war. This, I feel, is the most potent threat to energy security. On the other hand, we have what is, I call, the scourge of terrorism and insurgency, which has not resulted in any catastrophic incident thus far, but has disrupted supply and has imposed serious costs, caused spike hikes, and has a potential for serious consequences. Now, I'll just try and summarize a couple of examples. In 2006, Al-Qaeda inspired radicals carried out a vehicle-based IED attack on Saudi Arabia's Al-Qaeda oil processing plant. This, as you all know, is the largest processing plant in the world with a capacity of nearly 6.9 million barrels a day. Luckily, neither the strategy nor the tradecraft of the terrorists was up to it, and their vehicle-based IED suicidal attack managed to penetrate the perimeter but actually do no harm. But it did result in cost, because thereafter the USA invested a couple of $1 billion in Saudi security. Saudi Arabia itself has raised a force of 30,000 people to guard their oil installations. But luckily, the attack had no major implications at that point of time. So this is as near as we came to a catastrophic incident. In 1999, or let's take again, 2010, pirates hijacked a South Korean tanker called the Samoa Dream and it was hijacked sometime in April, kept in custody till November 2010. You can see how many months it was there, somewhere along the Somali coast. And it was released for a ransom of $10 million. $10 million. So the price of ransoms had also gone up. A more dangerous incident, but much less reported, about which I don't have too many details really, I must confess, happened in 1999, when pirates seized an oil tanker called the Shyam near Singapore, one of the areas infested by piracy, particularly off Indonesia, where there are very good hiding grounds for pirates, with nearly around 1,000 islands there along the Straits of Malacca. So this tanker was hijacked, the Samoa Dream, and the Charmant, and the crew was tied up, gagged, locked in a room, and the tanker was running on its own for around 1 to 1.5 hours. Now you can imagine the consequences of what would have happened. So I won't talk too much in detail about the genesis of insurgent and terrorist attacks. Suffice it to say that these have been happening for over the last 3 or 4 decades. What has changed is the frequency, nature, and impact of these attacks. They are characterized by a wide range of motivations, from the political, increasingly to the criminal. The protagonists are many. They are spread geographically in a wide area, from Africa to Latin America, Eurasia, India, Pakistan, the Straits of Malacca, and so on and so forth. So this is a very wide geographical spread. The target sets are a wide range of infrastructure associated with the exploration, production, transport, and distribution of energy. And let me just briefly touch upon, I won't talk about the attack methodologies, because of the shortage of time. These are, briefly speaking, swarm attacks, vehicle-based IEDs, sea vessel-based IEDs, attacks and kidnapping on hostages, and hostage taking from the oil sector and holding them for ransom. Now, what are the costs? The costs are that, take for example Colombia, where the FARC and the ELN, these are insurgent groups known by various names and denominations. All of them stand in the name of liberty, particularly ethnic autonomy and so on and so forth, or ethnic independence. So these are 2 Colombian groups which have been operating for decades. They have been attacking what is called the the Limon Covenas pipeline, and they have attacked it over 200 times over the last 30-40 years, imposing a royalty cost alone of $300 to $500 million annually. So is the case in Nigeria, where in the Nigerian Delta, the MEND, the movement for the emancipation of the Niger Delta, has also been attacking very, very frequently over the years various kinds of oil infrastructure, and which has resulted in a decline in production ranging from 25 to 30% of the capacity, almost 500 to 700 barrels per day. So this is the kind of impact they are having, that is taking place. I could talk about other regions of the world, but because of paucity of time, I will not do so. What is the composite picture of attacks? That's very difficult to get. There is a new site which has been set up in Zurich, which has provided some preliminary figures. Between 1980 and 2010, there have been 8,000 attacks by terrorists and insurgents on oil infrastructure. 8,000 attacks. I worked out the average at almost 250 to 300 attacks per annum. Between 2000 and 2010, which saw an upsurge, there was an annual 327 attacks per annum. And interestingly, the US NCTC figure states that almost 30 to 35% of the total terrorist attacks are directed against energy infrastructure. That is how susceptible it is to terrorist attacks. A major portion in recent years have occurred in Iraq, Colombia, Nigeria, potential of threat is occurred because of Al-Qaeda's strategy. There's been an ideological shift in Al-Qaeda's strategy as far as this so-called wealth of the Ummah, as they say, was concerned. Till 1996, Bin Laden had banned any attacks on this great Islamic wealth as he saw it. Things changed. After initial restraint, they shifted to declaring open season on oil infrastructure, and Al-Zawahiri, in fact, has carried the philosophy further. Its aim, it's become strategic in its concept. It's a way of waging economic warfare. It's aimed at hurting the US, which is a distant enemy, which they can't get to on the US shores, but they can certainly attack the chain, the value chain elsewhere, because the US is so dependent on imports, and also hurt its nearer cohorts, which are the various Arab leaders who sort of are closely allied to the US. So they have carried the philosophy further. They talk about the strategic entrapment of the US in this area, particularly in the Middle East, in a fit of madness, and they perceive that this will be a quagmire worse than what the USA has faced in Afghanistan and Iraq. So, and Al-Qaeda has added the maritime dimension as well to terrorism. It's been perfecting this art of maritime terrorism since 1999, when it engaged in that abortive attack on the US warship, the USS Sullivan, which was aborted in the sense that they just would not get to the ship. In 2000, they successfully carried out the same methodology and attacked the USS Ford, taking a toll in lives. And in 2002, they successfully attacked and once again took a toll. 17 lives lost and 90,000 barrels of oil spilled when they attacked the supertanker, the French supertanker Limburg. The costs were immense in terms of hikes and insurance, and in terms of loss in revenues to Yemeni ports. So these are the costs which take place. Al-Qaeda's maritime strategist, who is now mercifully under bars, I believe he's still under bars, that's Abd al-Rahim al-Nashiri, who was arrested in 2002, had compiled a 180-page document on maritime terrorism and has added some new strategies, including use of light aircraft against oil facilities and underwater demolition teams using liquid mines. So this is the way Al-Qaeda looks at it, and most analysts look at a nightmare scenario. They feel that the worst has not happened. I don't know whether the Al-Qaeda would be able to really carry out such an attack in view of the pressure on it now, but the nightmare scenario which is visualized by counter-terrorist specialists is the possibility of use of oil or an LNG tanker as a weaponized transport, a la 9/11, when an aircraft was used as a missile. So that's why I quoted the example of the ship, of the tanker adrift near Singapore, without anyone at the helm for such a long period of time. And this weaponized transport could be used against an oil asset, against a port, or against one of those important 7 choke points. For example, the Straits of Hormuz. If it was to be used there, even sunk there, it would disrupt the flow of 18 or 19 million barrels of oil per day. The 7 choke points carry nearly 45% of the entire daily production, daily transport of oil. So this is a serious nightmare scenario. Reasonably, it can be assumed that the Al-Qaeda would have seriously examined the option. In fact, it did. The Jamaah Islamiyah, an Indonesian affiliate of the Al-Qaeda, had planned to seize and use an oil tanker precisely for this purpose. So this is basically the scenario as far as this form of terrorism is concerned. Piracy is another issue. I feel my colleague is going to talk on that. I have just a few figures which I just quote for you. Of the number of pirate attacks that have taken place. These are very large number of attacks, and between 1997 and 2008, there were 3,566 piracy attacks in general against shipping, an average of 300 per month, and an inordinately high number of such attacks were directed against oil tankers. So this is one of the dangers that we have. For example, in 2011, there were more than 409 piracy attacks in total, and over 100 against tankers themselves. So this is the kind of situation that we live in. There are various solutions and various ways of tackling the problem. The US and the EU have a critical infrastructure security policy, which is a national policy. They not only secure their own assets, but they secure the value chain in foreign countries as well. We in India do not have a policy. We do something, but we do not have a policy. The ISPS, the IMO has issued the ISPS, which is a code for protection of ships and ports. So there are steps being taken. Private contractors have been authorized to carry arms on board of vessels. Rules of engagement are being worked out. There are numbers of ways of hardening both the critical infrastructure on land and critical infrastructure at sea. Perhaps somebody will dilate on that. I will stop with because of the paucity of time. I would now call upon the first panelist, General Retired Ashok Mehra, to address us next. A brief introduction. He was commissioned in 1957 with the 5th Gurkhas. His last assignment was General Officer Commanding of the IPKF in South Sri Lanka, involved in a number of dialogues and peace processes. He's a consultant for the Indian Defence Review and is very, very experienced, as you could see from his biodata presented in the booklet. General Ashok.
I'm going to speak